Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaura Arati Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschadhya Sakarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Hiva Jayo Ho Jaya Gaura Chande Ara Tikashova Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Ara Tikashova Chana Vitakavane Jaga Manaloka Chana Vitakavane Jaga Manaloka Dakhi Vame Gadadhara Rakhi Vame Gadadhara Nikate Advaita Shri Vasa Chatradhara Nikate Advaita Shri Vasa Chatradhara Vashi Yache Gaurachan Radna Simhasane Vashi Yache Gaurachan Radna Simhasane Arati Korena Brahma Ati Deva Gane Arati Gorena Brahma Ati Deva Gane Nara Ariya Vikori Chamara Julaya Nara Chamara Ajulaya Sanchaya Mukunda Vajaka Gosha Adhigaya Sanchaya Mukunda Vajaka Gosha Adhigaya Shankar Bache, Bache Karatala, Shankar, Bache Kanta Bache, Bache Karatala, Madhura Vedanga. Harama Rasala Madhura Vidanga Bade Harama Rasala Shankapache Kanta Pache Madhura Madhura Bache Shankapache Kantabache, Madhura Madhura Bache, Shankapache, Kantapache, Madhura Madhura Bache, Shankapache, Kantapache, Madhura Madhura Bache, Madhura Madhura Bache, Madhura Madhura Bache, Haribo, 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 Nitai Go, Haribo, Nitai Gaura, Haribo, 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 Bahu, Kote, Chantachini, Vadana, Uchwala, Bahu, Kote, Chandrachini, Vadana, Uchwala, Kalate, Shevana, Mala, Kore, Chalamala, Kalate, Shevana, Mala, Kore, Chalamala, Shiva, Shukanarada, Preme, Katagada, Shiva, Shukanarada, Preme, Katagada, Bhakti, Vinoda, Dege, Gaura Sampada, Bhakti Vinoda Dege, Gaura Sampada, Gibachayo, Jaya, Gaura Chante, Arati Kasoba, Jayo, Jayo, Gaura Chante, Arati Kasoba, Chanamita Tavani, Jaga Manaloba, Chanamita Tavani, Jaga Manaloba, Gaurange, Arati Shoba, Jaga Janamanaloba, Gaurange Arati Shobha Jaga Janamanalopa Gaurange Arati Shobha Jaga Janamanalopa Gaurange Arati Shobha Jaga Janamanalopa Jaga Janamanalopa Haribol 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol Nitai Gaura Haribol 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Nitai Satisundar Nitai Satisundar Nitai Satisundar Jaya Nitai Satisundar Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Ananda Kari Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Vijayacharya Sadarashadi Sri Srimad Aisi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Vijayacharya Sadarashadi Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja Prabhupada Ki Ananda Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Navadvip Maya Pudam Ki Ganga Maya Munamai Ki Tulasi Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Gaura Premanandi All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Haribol, what a surprise! Oh, a century has passed by. Hare Krishna. So stay. At 5:30, Bhakti Govinda Maharaj will give a talk on Zoom.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Oh, what a nice surprise. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralala Padayale. Pralala Padayale. Hiranyakashipu Hiranyakashipu Vaksha Shilatanka Nakalaye Shilatanka Nakalaye Ito Nrisimha Palato Nrisimha Ito Nrisimha Palato Nrisimha Yato Yato Yamitato Nrisimha Yato Yato Yamitato Nrisimha Pahi Nrisimha Hidaya Nrisimha Pahi Nrisimha Hidaya Nrisimha Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade Abba Hara Kamala Vare Rakam Abudha Sringa Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Hanupringha Keshavadita Nara Harirupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Abhakara Kamala Vare Abhakam Abhukadinga Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanupringha Keshavadita Nara Harirupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrisimha Nrisimha Jaya Nrisimha 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 Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Gaura Haribo 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 Shri Bhagavan Nrisimha Swami ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Have you ever seen these lords? Never?
Last I came was
20 years. More than 20 years.
They were living here. That's time I came to see them.
And here, Bhakti Govinda Maharaj is here. Hare Krishna.
Where is Maharaj from?
He is in France at the moment. Hare Krishna. So I want to welcome everyone. That is Vashana Mataji, Monali, Rasika Mataji, Amrita Rate Mataji, Rituan, Prakashji, and especially Bhakti Govinda Maharaj. Hare Krishna. So we'll switch view, Maharaj. We'll take the pin off me and we'll put it on you. Spotlight for everyone. Okay. So here you are. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
Oh, beautiful to see you. Again, you are here. How wonderful.
Hare Krishna. So nice to see you again, Prabhuji, and all the assembled devotees.
I had the great opportunity this morning of giving a talk on the way to France and seeing the devotees there and the deities there and ecstatic Kirtan. It was absolutely beautiful. My heart was running there. I wanted to be there.
Please
So
come.
thank you. Now you're running, coming here. Okay. So may I give you the microphone is over to you and
Sure.
so Hare Krishna.
Right. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Gauranga Sundar Prabhu, for giving me this very special opportunity to be in your association and all the assembled devotees. I feel so fortunate to be with you once again. Thank you for blessing me with your association. So today I would like to share with you a verse from Bhagavad Gita. It is quite a treasure, and there are so many special meditations that Krishna is giving us, special teachings for us in this world, in a way that we can approach him more sincerely and connect more with him at the level of the heart. So first, I'll just do Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. So I chose tonight the first verse I learned from Bhagavad Gita, and it's chapter 2, verse 40, which is such a beautiful verse for us in our present day. Actually, every verse of the Bhagavad Gita is like a portable meditation. It's a mantra, actually. It's very interesting. I'd just like to touch a little bit about this. Prabhupada did say that when we hear, or when we read, or when we recite, or when we hear Bhagavad Gita, it's just the same like we would be, just like Arjuna was present face to face to Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada, he said that it's non-different, just like Jiva Goswami also. He said about the Srimad Bhagavatam in his commentary on the Bhagavatam, or maybe in his Sandarbhas. He's explaining that when we read or hear about Krishna and the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are there actually. We can connect to that because it is called Shabda Brahman. And this is something very special for us. Hearing, everything starts with hearing, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So hearing for us is such a privilege. By hearing, we can connect to Krishna. And we should never think that reading Bhagavad Gita is something ordinary. Prabhupada and the Acharyas explained to us that there are 5 things that are directly Krishna. Shastra, just like the Bhagavad Gita, it's non-different from Krishna. His name, Prasadam, the deities, and the devotees, because they have Krishna in their heart. Also, it is explained sometimes the temple, because it is a manifestation of the Dham. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, we come in direct contact with Krishna. When we open the pages of the Bhagavad Gita, we don't just open a book. We connect with Krishna, because Krishna is a person. And just like Krishna is non-different from his name, Krishna is non-different from his teachings as well. So that's why when we hear the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, this is Shabda Brahman. It's recorded transcendental sound. And this is something that is quite mystical. It is the mercy of the Lord. He is the Son incarnation in this age by giving us the access of the Mahamantra. But he is also present as sound when we read Bhagavad Gita. So that's why when we start with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, it's not just an ordinary mantra. It's a mantra that has been given by Narada Muni we understand that he gave it to, I lost not Prahlad, what is the name? Dhruva Maharaj. I had Prahlad in my mind somehow. So he gave this mantra to Prahlad Maharaj so that he could meditate on the Lord in his heart. And he got a darshan of the Lord by chanting this mantra. So when we will chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya together, we have to start a connection there. Everything is about connection and tension, because we are the soul. We have a consciousness, and with our consciousness we can connect to Krishna, and we can connect to Krishna through sound. That's why sound is, or transcendental sound, is so important in our life. Gauranga Sundar Prabhu, he was speaking about the importance of chanting this morning. Tonight, I would like to speak about the importance of hearing Bhagavad Gita, especially this verse. What should we learn about this verse? So when we will recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, please meditate deeply on the purport of this mantra. Om. Om means that we start, and it's an invocation. We start by invoking Krishna in our life. Namo means we offer respect to Om, to Krishna, who is the source of everything. Bhagavate, Krishna, who is that personal aspect, is Bhagavan, and Vasudevaya, who is performing his sweet pastimes in Vrindavan. So when we do Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, it's a way to connect to Krishna. Bhakti is an affair of the heart. We have to go at the level of the heart. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Harinam Chintamani that there are 3 levels of inattention in us in regard to chanting, or just in regard to a relationship with Krishna also, I would say. Inattention of the body is tired or sick. And because of that, we don't have the energy to chant japa or to hear or to read Bhagavad Gita. Then there is inattention at the level of the mind. This is when we have all these thoughts coming to the mind and disturbing us and taking us away from concentrating our attention on Krishna. And then there's inattention at the level of the heart. And let me tell you, when I heard this first from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I became sad in my heart. I realized, yes, actually, this is our problem. We have inattentive. He says we are inattentive at the level of the heart because we are indifferent to Krishna. And when I heard this first, I became sad, truly, because I realized I am inattentive and I am indifferent to Krishna. And this is what we should meditate on. We are actually indifferent to Krishna. Just like Rupa Goswami says, when we chant the holy name, it will be just like we have our heart is full or covered by steel. And because of that, our heart is not able to melt, or we're not able to have tears when we chant the holy name. So when we do things in Krishna consciousness, we have to bring it at the level of the heart. We'll speak a little bit about that tonight as well. So please, I was explaining Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and please meditate on this purport and keep it in your heart, and see how when you chant the Maha Mantra, how you can also actually bring it at the level of the heart. It will help you to deepen your relationship of Krishna and also make a deeper experience of Krishna. So I will share the verse with you. Neha Vikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Swapamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. Translation. In this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Purport. Activity in Krishna consciousness, or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification, is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed, otherwise the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there's no profit. Ajamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There's a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness, and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? Or, as the Christians say, what profited a man if he gained the whole world, yet suffered the loss of his eternal soul? So, material activities and their results end with the body. But work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnanam Jadasharakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Darati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bhando Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Prishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarupyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutare Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pashtatare Shatarine. What a beautiful verse. We can receive so much from Krishna's teachings. Everything is there. What's very special with Bhagavad Gita or Shastra or any transcendental knowledge is that it's not ordinary knowledge. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. It is the secret of all knowledge. It's the queen of all knowledge because actually it gives us direct perception of the self and of Krishna. So this knowledge is special because it's alive, because it's Krishna. And when we apply it in our life through devotional service, then it becomes alive and we can receive realizations from it also. So that's why if we don't apply the teachings of Gita in our life, we will not have the necessary realization to change our life. So we need to apply it. It's very important. Just like a bookshelf, if it's full of books, it's just heavy. It's a burden for the bookshelf. So knowledge in itself, full of knowledge, is a burden. But when we connect it to Krishna, that's when it becomes alive. And that's when Krishna, he gives us realization in the heart. And what's even more special, due to his special mercy, he will even send our way a special test to exemplify a verse. I've experienced that so many times in my life. That's true that actually the Gita is very relevant for us because we do experience the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We are in the same position like Arjuna, just like the first chapter, Upadis. We are full of designations and we're confused because of all this identification. And we don't know what is our duty in life. We don't know what to do. We don't know what is our goal in life. We don't know who we are. We're lost, just like Arjuna. Arjuna, he was completely confused. He left his bow on the ground. He was completely bewildered. And that's why he surrendered to Krishna. So we do experience what Arjuna experienced in his own life. And we experience it every day. Every day is a battlefield of Kurukshetra for us. And that's why we need Krishna's teachings in our life. That's why Prabhupada, he took so much energy to give a nice commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure most of you know that Prabhupada, he wrote first, I think it was 1,200 pages. When he arrived in New York, he already had written a manuscript of 1,200 pages on the Bhagavad Gita commentary. And unfortunately, he was like in a building, he had a small room that was given by Dr. Mishra. And someone came in his room and stole his manuscript and stole his not dictaphone, but his machine where he was writing. So he lost the whole commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And then, because it was so important for him to share Krishna's teachings, he did it all over again. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for taking the special time to give this beautiful purport that you have been giving to us, so that we can understand what are Krishna's teachings and apply them directly in our life. So this verse is very relevant for us because it really explains the nature of material activity. And this is something we really have to understand in our life. In order to exemplify material activity, I'll share a little bit, I'm sorry, of my boring life and example. But for me, it exemplified this verse actually. So in my life, I had some kind of good karma. Everything I wanted to do, I could accomplish it. I had that karma, that good karma. I wanted to walk in the Himalayas. I did that. I wanted to take a boat on the Amazon River. I did that. I wanted to work with refugees and work in villages in, like secluded areas. I did that. Everything I wanted to do in my life, I achieved it. And what's interesting, if after realizing for me, what was most dear to my heart, all my material desires, it's funny because at the end of all that, I felt I was back at the beginning. That was my realization. I was just back at the beginning, just like I did so much externally. I did social work, I did projects here and there in different countries. But at the end, I felt I was back at the beginning. Like my soul didn't move forward. My body moved, my mind was really fast and doing different things, but my soul was still there, and my soul was still crying for its truth and for its relationship with Krishna. So then I realized actually that material activity is actually kind of futile because it doesn't make the soul is not able to express itself fully through these activities. I mean, we do because the soul is there, we are conscious and we are conscious of our senses, of our environment and everything. And that's why we experience pain or happiness or distress or joy, because the soul is there. And through the consciousness, we're conscious of this body and this mind. So definitely we have the experience of this. But actually, the thing is that in this world, everything we do has a beginning and an end. And this is something we have to meditate on. Like, I'm sharing the story that happened to me to give a lesson for others not to repeat the same mistakes I made. Because when I was 18 years old, it just came to me like that, some special gift of Krishna. At that time, I didn't know who was Krishna. I was more in Buddhism, but I was sitting under a tree. And I was just there in the present moment looking at the sunset. It was in Kincardine, one of the most beautiful places to see sunsets in the world, in Ontario, on the shore of Lake Huron. So I was there, sitting under a tree, just sitting peacefully, meditating. And then all of a sudden, I got this kind of like a deep experience of joy. My whole body was vibrating, and I felt so much happiness. And it was so intense that I was smiling and laughing and at the same time crying. It was just, I mean, out of this world. For me, at that time, it was a special experience. And I was kind of like, it was for me some kind of an awakening that there was something beyond me that was giving me this experience, the source of everything, the source of happiness, the source of beauty. And for me, that was a very decisive moment in my life. I realized that I had to look for the source and dedicate my life to it. But unfortunately, because I didn't have the proper association, I went here and there and I traveled around the world to realize that everything I was looking for was inside of me, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 5, verse 24, that actually the yogis, they look for happiness inside because we have a portable paradise inside because Krishna is there. So it's more than paradise, but it's a portable Vrindavan because Krishna is in the heart. So because Krishna is there, naturally his abode is there if you want to connect to it, because Krishna is never separated from his abode. So if we connect to Krishna in the heart, although it's Paramatma, if we meditate on Krishna in Vrindavan, he can manifest his presence in the heart and he can manifest his abode in the heart also. That's why we have to meditate about these things, how Krishna is in the heart and is always accompanying us. So why I'm sharing this story with you is just to make us understand that actually everything we do, even if we fulfill all the material desires in this world, in this life, it's never going to be enough to satisfy us because we are the soul. We are a soul in a human experience. And here is the difference for us. We're a soul in a human experience. And we have to meditate on this. I mean, this makes a lot of sense, actually, that I am a soul in a human experience. If you understand, if you meditate on this, you will see that actually what we're looking for is something so much more deeper and higher than what we're trying to look for in this world. So that's why we have to meditate on the nature of material activity, because everything we do in this world, and sometimes we forget about it because we don't want to think about that. It's the greatest taboo thing. Prabhupada talks about that in the purport to chapter 4, verse 10 of Bhagavad Gita, a purport that I love. He says the 3 reasons why people, they don't want to go into spirituality. And one of them is that we are afraid of our spiritual identity because it's eternal and it's beyond this identity, it's beyond this world. So for us, it's confusing because if I am something beyond this body, then who am I? And what do I possess? What is my true identity? We're kind of at a loss there. So that's why because we need identity, because the soul is an identity. We attach ourselves so much to this body and these activities because we don't know who we are. And we put all our energy, we'll put all our heart for the rest of our life just to take care of this body and everything else. Whereas actually, this is so, temporary, and everything, sometimes we just forget it, but we will spend the whole of our life, year after year, for like 50, 70, 90 years, just to maintain this body and fulfill our personal desires. But actually, at the time of death, we leave everything behind. And this is what this verse speaks about, actually, that at the time of death, everything we have accomplished is finished. And like Prabhupada said in the purport, the thing with material activity is that if you don't fulfill it at 100%, if you don't make it to 100%, you won't get the full result of it. But devotional service, there's no loss or diminution. And this is so special because this is spiritual activity. Everything we do in connection with Krishna is, I would say, like a step towards our eternity. This is very beautiful. Think about that for a sec. Everything we do in connection to Krishna is just one more step towards our eternity, towards Krishna. So this is the difference between material activity and spiritual activity. And it's not that we stop acting, because Krishna says in the Gita, chapter 3, verse 5, that we cannot stop acting because the soul is active. This is the nature of the soul to act. That's why we're so active with this body, with this mind. We need to do something, and it's natural. But we need to do something in connection to Krishna. This is so simple, actually. The point is that if we don't do things in connection to Krishna, Prabhupada said, if you have millions of euros, like if you have many zeros in your bank account, but you don't put one in front of it, there's no value in what you have in your bank account. This is the same thing with our activities. If we don't connect our activities to Krishna, if we don't connect our life, our relationships, our heart, our desires, then everything we do doesn't have value. Because true value is when we connect to Krishna. Prabhupada said something very simple about the nature of this world, or Maya, illusion. He said, Maya means that which is not Krishna. This is such a beautiful, simple definition of the material illusion. Maya means that which is not Krishna. So everything is Krishna. Everything can be connected to Krishna. Prabhupada did say, it's not the best offering, it is in mode of ignorance. But he said that even the drunkard can offer the pure water and his beer to Krishna. So actually, the thing is, we have to understand, first of all, that everything we do in this life, there's a beginning and an end. So we have to stop for a sec in our busy, busy life and think about this. I mean, where am I going in this life? What am I doing with these activities I'm doing right now, with these projects that I have? Where is that bringing me in life? Because the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, they don't just think about the present moment, but they also think about the time of death. And it's not to be negative, but it's to be actually alive, and it's to be free. Because when you accept death in your life, this is true freedom, because you prepare yourself differently, you live differently, and actually you live so much more fully when you accept death. And when you accept that's true, the conclusion of this life. And it's not something negative in itself. It's a way to prepare ourselves. So the point is that first, the material activity, there's a beginning and an end. First thing. Second, at the time of death, we lose everything. Everything we have to keep behind us. We don't bring anything with us. To give you an example, just before I became brahmachari, this was in 2010, I was working with a rich Hungarian man. He was multimillionaire because he was working with gold. He was an economist, and he was able to analyze the price of gold. And he was very rich. And I was in his beautiful apartment, and I was there at the time of his death. And he had so much money. He was so rich. He had money. He had like gold lingots in a Swiss bank account. And as he was spending his last few days before dying, before leaving this world, I was with him. And it was so sad to see his condition. I promised to myself, I will never die like this. Because he was rich, he had so much money, but he was so greedy in his heart. He had so much frustration. He was racist. And he just had so much envy and difficulty in his heart. And his last few days, he was just angry. He was lost. I remember I was taking care of him in the night. He thought that I was a thief trying to steal him, and he was trying to hit me with his fist like that because he was confused. And he was just in so much miserable condition, to say honestly. And I remember I was sitting with his wife. We were taking breakfast together. And at that time, it became, because he was breathing, the last few days he couldn't see anymore. His eyes were getting yellow. And I was sitting peacefully with his wife. We were taking breakfast. And all of a sudden, it became very silent. I couldn't hear his breathing, and something was off. So I went to see him. And when I look at his face, he was like this. It's not a joke. He was like this. And I was, my God, I was completely shocked when I saw this. I realized that actually he had left his body, and I tried to see if he was still breathing, and he was completely gone. And when I'm showing his face, but when I saw his face, it really shocked me. He was like he left this world, but with fear in his face. And when I saw his face like that, I promised to myself that I will never, never, never die in such a miserable condition. So that was for me a great lesson in my life, to prepare myself for that time of death. Because Krishna does say, Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam, tyajatante kalevaram, that the state of mind that we have at the time of death, that state we attain without fail. So why I'm explaining this is that man, he did so much in his life, he had so much money, he did everything he wanted, but at the end, he died like a miserly person, actually. So we don't want to become like that. That's why we have to start now. That's why Prahlad Maharaj, think about that. He asked his colleagues who were 5, 6 years old, please don't waste your time. Be serious in your spiritual life. You're still already are 5 years old. You don't have much time left. You have to invest time with Krishna, you know? So naturally, usually in our society, in our culture, we think that, no, I'm working now, I'm doing everything I can, and when I'm retired, I'll do more things for Krishna. But it's not going to work like that, because when I'll retire, I'm still going to have the same level of consciousness, and I'm still going to have that lack of connection with Krishna. So we should not wait for another time, or we have to do it now, because we are the soul, and the soul needs Krishna. This is something we have to think about. The body needs food, the mind needs like activity, or like advertisement, or just to some like the mind needs satisfaction, but the soul needs Krishna. We need to feed the soul. We cannot neglect the soul. It's not possible, because that's who we are. We cannot spend a day without Krishna, because Krishna is everything. Everything we experience from beginning to end is because Krishna is allowing us to experience it. This body is given by Krishna. These senses, everything we do is provided by Krishna. He's the super soul, and he maintains, and he witnesses, and he provides for all our desires. He does that actually. So if we are to experience everything in this life at every moment, it's because Krishna allows us to do that. So then we should ask ourselves this question: if Krishna does so much for me, what do I do for him? Because actually we that's this is why, we kind of exploit Krishna in a way. This is Krishna's energy. It's coming from him. This energy is bound to serve Krishna, because this is the nature of Krishna's energy. Is just like us. We're made to serve Krishna and to love him and to have a relationship with him. So all of Krishna's energies are made to serve him and worship him. So this body is no ordinary. This body is a temple, because it is, first of all, it's Krishna is there in the heart. The soul is there, but also this body is in a temple in a sense that it can be used to worship Krishna. We should never think this body is just something ordinary. It's not ordinary, because it is an opportunity to engage this body in Krishna's service. And that's why this body is sacred, actually. Although it's made of the material energy, it is sacred, because the function of this body is to serve, worship, and love Krishna. And Lakshmi, she says that in the Bhagavatam. She says that all the forms of this world, all the senses, all the objects of the senses, they're manifested from me, and they're made from me to worship Krishna. They're objects of worship for Krishna. So this body is an object of worship for Krishna. We should meditate on that for a sec. So that's why we should not just keep our busy life just doing it because our conditioning is pushing us to do certain things. We have to connect our consciousness to Krishna when we do things. I mean, just like Gaura Sundar Prabhu was telling this morning, we should chant Hare Krishna all day long. Because we're the soul and we're bound to be connected to Krishna. So chanting is a way to connect to Krishna all the time. But with what we do with this body every day, it's interesting. Like Prabhuji was talking about the need to chant all the time. So I'd like to push a little bit about the need to connect all of our activities to Krishna. Because when we have sadhana or when we're chanting japa, we think that, okay, I chant japa for 15, 30, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. And then after that, I can do whatever I want for the rest of the day. Or it's just not normal day-to-day basis. I go on with my natural activities. But it shouldn't work like that, actually. We chant japa so that we can actually infuse our body, our mind, our senses, and most of all our heart, so that it can be filled with Krishna, so that we stay conscious and connected to Krishna in everything we do. So that's why when we walk, when we look, when we smell, when we think, when we act, when we love, we should try to connect that to Krishna, because everything we do is anyway in connection to him. But it's just that we forget to connect it to Krishna. And the reason why we forget to connect it to Krishna is because If Krishna is not there, then I can take it for myself. I can control it, and this is mine. This is my Maya. Because we want to take control of it, because we are possessive of this body and this world and everything that surrounds us. And because of that, we are not giving the space in our heart to assist Krishna, because this is our nature. We're meant to assist Krishna in everything that we do. And this is where spiritual activity comes into play. Actually, activity is the same. You know, we breathe, we eat, we smell, we talk, we love, we reciprocate, we act, we do all these things like normal people do. But the difference is that our consciousness is connected to Krishna. We do it as a service to Krishna. It has to become something natural for us, because this is the nature of the soul. Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. This is the natural disposition of the soul. So this is something that is very interesting for us. Everything that we do is, service to Krishna is something that is completely natural. Everything is working of its own accord, just like it is explained in the Shishra Upanishad, that this world is perfect. It's a complete whole. This body is perfect in itself, but what is imperfect is not this world. What is imperfect is our consciousness, what we make of this world. Prabhupada said we can turn this world into Vaikuntha. Because this is Krishna's energy. It's not meant to be like a suffering place. It's meant to worship Krishna, because this is the nature of any energy of Krishna. Even this Maya Shakti, this external energy of the Lord. It's an expansion of Lakshmi, who is an expansion of Radharani. So this body in itself is meant to serve Krishna. So spiritual activity is not that we change everything. Prabhupada says, no, you don't need to change anything at the beginning. You just need to add Krishna in your life. And this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, of devotional service. We just have to add Krishna in our day-to-day life. We cannot live without him. He's not living without us. He's conscious of us at any moment. He's following us, is reciprocating with us, is fulfilling all of our desires. What we desire and what we deserve, according to our karma, is there all the time. Is always with us, is conscious of us. So what we have to do, we have to turn to Krishna in the heart. There has to be this movement in the heart. Prabhupada said it's a movement. We have to move towards Krishna. So every day, and don't worry, you know, what I speak about, maybe you might feel, oh, I don't feel I'm doing enough of that in my life. That's not a problem, because no matter what happens in your life, no matter what test you have or what difficulties or limitation, you are always the soul. Nobody is taking that away from you. You are the soul. And the soul means we're meant to be an eternal servant of Krishna. So no matter what we're going through or where we're at right now in our Krishna consciousness, the point is that tomorrow or even tonight is a new opportunity to serve Krishna. Tomorrow, like before we go to bed, we should think, okay, how was my day today? What did I do today? Maybe I was not sincere enough. Maybe I didn't do enough for Krishna today. I should try to do better tomorrow. Always better service. This is the nature of servant. We always try to improve ourselves, because we're meant to do that. We're meant to serve Krishna with the best motivation, with the best attitude, and the sincerest desire to connect with him. So that's why we have to be in the movement. Otherwise, we become affected and controlled by the mode of ignorance, and we lose our inspiration. I met a devotee recently that met Srila Prabhupada. I met him in the street, and he connected to so many devotees. He knew devotees for the last 40 years, and when I looked at him in the eyes, I could see he was completely disconnected from the devotees and from his relationship with Krishna, and I could see in his eyes, and it was so sad for me to see that he was actually disconnected, and I could see the pain in his eyes. I could see the suffering he was going through. And when I was looking at him, I was reflecting how fortunate I am to still be in the association of devotees. How fortunate I am to still have inspiration to serve every day and to chant the Maha Mantra. We're so fortunate, actually, because, Who says that in 20 years I wouldn't be in the same situation like him? Actually, this material energy is so powerful. It's incredible. It's an energy of Krishna, actually. So every day is such a special opportunity. And we should not think just about material activity. We should think about the nature of activity. The goal of activity is to serve Krishna, because this is the purpose of any creation, or everything that exists, everything that has to be, that was, that is, or that will be. Because everything is Krishna. So the thing is that what I realized were in my own life, that after like 10, 15 years of realizing all my desires, that actually I was back at the beginning, is that I didn't do it for Krishna. And because I didn't do it for Krishna, it's like I didn't do nothing. That was my experience in my heart. I did so much, but in my heart, I felt like I did nothing because I did nothing for Krishna. And that's where I realized that it's not whatever you do externally, it's whatever you do internally that makes the difference. Just like Brahma. We all know the story of Brahma, where he was confused after Krishna showed him his opulences. And then at the end he said, what is the use? What can I give you, Krishna? I realized that there are millions of Brahmas that are serving that are much better than me. So what can I give you? I can only be a servant, you know. I can only be a speck of dust so that the gopis can walk on my head. So even Brahma, he was at a loss because he realized, what could he give to Krishna? Because Krishna is everything and he's the source of everything. But one thing we can give to Krishna, and this is who we are really. This belongs to us. This is our identity. We can give ourselves to Krishna. We can give our heart. We can give our desires. We can give our free will. We can give this life to Krishna. Prabhupada said, you give so many lifetimes to this material energy. Just give this lifetime to Krishna. The point is that when we keep in material activity, you know, it is described, it will protect you from the most dangerous type of fear. Prabhupada explains that the most dangerous type of fear is to lose human life and to go back to the animal kingdom. And this is a danger for us. This is a possibility. We don't know what we will be in our next life. Even in devotional service, we should not take the chance that, oh, maybe if I don't do it in this life, I can make it next life. But who knows what we will be doing in our next life? What will be our family, or we don't know. I mean, it might not be necessarily the best situation. Definitely, if we're in devotional service in this life, we'll be just like Krishna says in this verse. Naturally, we'll keep, you know, the devotional credits, but still, we don't know. We're still in the material world. So should we take this chance that maybe, okay, I'm not serious enough in this life? Sometimes I hear devotees, let me tell you, dear devotees, when I hear this, it pains my heart so much. When devotees, they say that, actually, maybe I'll come back next life. I'm not ready, or I'm not serious enough. This is so sad because, I mean, what is it going to change if we come for another round in this world? We've tried it all. Prahlad Maharaj, he says, it's just like we eat. I mean, it's chewing the truth. Everything we've tried before, we've been here for so many lifetimes. We've tried everything already. But this material energy is so strong that it will make us believe that we have still something else to do in this world. This is the power of this material energy. We have nothing to do in this world. We're the soul, we're meant to be with Krishna, to play with him for eternity in his eternal abode of Goloka Vrindavan, but we still think we have something to do in this world. And this is our greatest misfortune, actually. And this is our greatest tragedy. We still think we have something to do in this world. So that's why we have to think about this. If I still keep going on like this, where am I going to be at the time of death? Where will that bring me after the time of death? Where will I go after this? That's why we need to act with a goal in our heart. If we don't have any goal, we're not going to go anywhere. I remember I was in the Brahmacharya ashram when I was in Canada. There was 9 of us, then there was 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was the only one left in the Brahmacharya ashram at that time. And then I spoke with Vaisheshika Prabhu, and I told him that. I said, you know, I don't know what to do now. I'm alone. There's no more brahmacharis. So what should I do? And he told me something that I will never forget. And I'd like to share with you tonight, actually. He said something that is very precious to us and that we should apply today so that we can redirect our life properly. He said, you know, in this world, everything changes. This world is impermanent. You change, everybody else changes, situations change, everything changes all the time. So you cannot have a goal just based on this impermanence, because are you going to be able to fulfill it or feel satisfied when everything is changing all the time? And he said, actually, you have to put in your heart a goal that is eternal, that never will move. He said, what is your most important goal in life? He said, you go in your heart, you open your heart, and whatever is the most important goal in your life, you put it at the deepest recesses of your heart, and you lock the door of the heart, and you keep it tight. And no matter what happens in life, this is your direction. This is your goal. This is your desire. This is your inspiration. This is what we have to put. Because if we don't have this goal in our heart, we will have, because of the mind, so many other goals, so many other ideas or priorities in our life. So that's why we have to first find what is the most important goal for us. And the most important goal is to go back home, back to Godhead. This is the most important thing, actually. Prabhupada, he put so much emphasis on that, so much importance, actually. So we have to put that goal in our heart. And if we have that goal, then we'll be protected. Krishna will reciprocate with us. He will find situations to protect that goal. He will send devotees in our life to inspire us to nourish and strengthen that goal. And he will give us what we need to attain that goal also. So that's why if we have that goal, then our desires will change. Our activities will naturally align also themselves with that goal. And everything will align itself naturally. So that's why goal in the heart is important. It will give us the proper direction in life so that we don't get misdirected by so many other goals in life. And then, naturally, because our goal is to go back to Krishna and to develop devotion to him, love for him, then everything will accordingly connect itself, and our activities will want to connect them to Krishna, because if my goal is to be with Krishna and to serve him, then I will want to connect everything I do to him. And then naturally the connection will make itself and will feel inspired to try to connect to Krishna in every day-to-day activity, even just by brushing my teeth or speaking to someone or loving my daughter or my son or my friend. There will be something there in the heart. We'll want to connect to Krishna through this, because our goal will be to be with Krishna. So this is how we will connect to spiritual activity. Spiritual activity is simply to do things for Krishna. Do it as a service for Krishna, to please him, to develop love for him, to develop a relationship with him. This is spiritual activity. And the beauty of it is that everything we do in connection to Krishna is another step for our eternity. And it feeds, this is Krishna Bank. I mean, this is not on a material platform, but it nourishes our Sukriti and Krishna. The more we do something for Krishna, the more he will want to do something for us. This is very mystical. And we should never, never discourage ourselves with this, because Krishna is testing us. He's testing our love. And we see that. Sachinanand Maharaj, he was saying that many devotees, they live after 5 years because, there's some tests are there and they maybe don't experience enough satisfaction in their heart. But the thing is that if we want to be with Krishna, we really have to prove our love to him. This is an affair of the heart. It's a matter of the heart, and we have to prove something to Krishna. We have to prove that we want him. And listen to this. Krishna did say to Narada Muni, he gave him his darshan, and he said, you will never see me again in this life. at the end, you will see me again. And in this lifetime, you won't see me again. And he pushed Narada Muni to look after him everywhere. He will go to every village in the forest, try to look for Krishna, because he received the darshan of Krishna. So we should not discourage ourselves. Krishna is testing us. He's there in the heart. Don't think he's not conscious of an effort, that he's not conscious of your limitation or difficulties or sacrifices. Krishna is always conscious at every step of everything that you do. But it's just that we need to prove our love to Krishna. Yes. We really need to prove ourselves to Krishna. We need to prove to him that we're ready to sacrifice for him, that we're ready to sacrifice our own desires, that we are ready to sacrifice our own even limitations to try to do something more for him. Krishna is waiting that from us, you know. He says that prakrite kriyamanani. So actually, we really have to connect to Krishna at that level and show him that we desire sincerely to be with him. And in that way, he will reciprocate with us more sincerely, because he's only waiting for that. At any moment, he's waiting to support us, to give us the opportunity to serve him and to deepen our relationship with us. But are we really ready to do this? This is what will make the difference, actually. So this is what I wanted to share tonight, just the nature of activity and how it's just natural for us to serve Krishna. And we should not discourage ourselves, but just become conscious of the special opportunity that we have every day to do something else for him, no matter what we're going through or what it is that we're going through in our life. So I stop here. Are there any questions or reflections?
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank
Hare
you
Krishna.
really very, very much. Any question from anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I ask a question? Amrita Radhe Devi Dasi here.
Go ahead, Amrita Rati Mataji.
Maharaj, thank you so much for an amazing class. In your association, I feel like loving Krishna, though I have no love for him yet, but they are very inspiring. Thank you. My question, Maharaj, I have actually two questions. First question is that sometimes I get distracted. In the sense, in my heart of heart, I know that yes, to go back to Krishna and to love Krishna and to offer all my activities to Krishna is the goal of my life. But then sometimes I get bored by the normal routine, even though it is full of devotional service. Like I serve my deities, I'm taking care of my children, cooking bhoga for Krishna, preaching, hearing, everything. But I get bored, so I've kind of got recently go to Instagram and check reels, and then after few reels I regret it. So my question here is that you might have met some really inspiring devotees, or you yourself must be having some really interesting routine. So how do you fill your routine up with activities that would be pleasing to Krishna? That is my first question. I also have another question, which I will ask later if you permit.
Okay. So regarding to your first question, I will say what's very practically important in our day-to-day life is that there's japa, there's moment where we do things directly with Krishna. You know, the direct Krishna, it's more easy. When we chant japa, it's directly Krishna. The deities are directly Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita is directly Krishna. But what's more difficult is the next 20 hours of the day. When we are doing things that are more indirectly connected to Krishna. And that's where it makes it difficult to connect it to him, because it's kind of more subtle, you know. So it's just like everyday today thing. What about just like if sometimes even cooking, we come as we can even cook as a ritual or just an habit. Or what about just like taking a shower, brushing our teeth, or speaking with others? And I mean, there's so many things we do during the day. So how we can stay connected to Krishna, I would say first is to have the good sadhana. That's very important. Good sadhana in the morning. If you have good sadhana, especially chanting the holy name, this is very important. Because when you chant, it's Krishna directly. And when you chant, you infuse your heart, your mind, your body with Krishna. And it governs your consciousness for the rest of the day. It supports your consciousness. And it makes it more easy for you to connect to Krishna. So if you have good sadhana, it will make it more easily accessible for you, this connection. That's the first thing. But then second is we have to introspect actually. But first, I will say that our factual reality is a relationship to Krishna. This is something we should think about. Our true factual reality is a relationship with Krishna. And that can manifest itself in any way, in anything way that we do. So practically, so that we don't get disconnected, we have to meditate, okay, how can I speak with my friends in connection to Krishna? How can I do it as a service, Because we are soul, and the soul is meant to serve Krishna in every aspect, in every way, in every situation that we experience in our everyday life. So that's where we have to be more sensitive, is that how can I keep my soul alive and connected and sensitive, to Krishna when I do things. The thing is, Krishna is in the heart, is at every time, everything that you do. When you brush your teeth, Krishna is there, is conscious of you. When you sleep, Krishna is there, is conscious of you. When you speak to someone else, Krishna is there, is conscious of you. So how are you conscious of him, in these little moments, just like he is of you? And just like Gauranga Sudha Prabhu was saying this morning, chanting the holy name the whole day is very important because it keeps you connected. But then also introspection is necessary. Without introspection, we cannot progress spiritually. So chanting the holy name more sincerely, reading the Bhagavad Gita, and then introspection during the day. We have to stop, meditate on the soul. Yes. We have to meditate on Krishna, but we have to meditate on the soul also. Wait a sec, okay? I have to sit down a little bit. I'm kind of like disconnected right now. Maybe I have to stop a little, like a few minutes, and just wait a sec. Wow, okay, what am I doing now? What is it I'm not doing properly? We have to be in prayer, and the holy name helps us actually to be in prayer. So we have to pray to Krishna. When we start the day, Krishna, please, I am in a difficult situation right now. I am in this material body, and discovering is difficult because there's so much so many things that can disturb my mind, and I can easily disconnect myself from you. So we have to pray sincerely to Krishna when we chant the holy name. Please, Krishna, please help me to stay connected with you the whole day. I know I'm gonna forget you like so easily. I know I'm gonna become disconnected from you, but please help me to stay connected. So by prayer also, introspection, prayer and meditation on the soul and Krishna, then we can keep ourselves in a better state of mind, better consciousness. So these little things are important, prayer, but also like every day, these little moments we have to see, okay, wait a sec, Krishna is there. He's there just right now as I'm doing this. And how can I become conscious of him? We become conscious of him by being in a service attitude. Chanting the holy name develops that service attitude in the heart. And the more that the service attitude develops, the more we'll be sensitive about the little details also. How to be conscious of him and how to be in a service attitude towards him when we do the little things also. Because even a mother that is taking care of her son or daughter or child can attain self-realization. There's no situation. It's not about being a brahmachari or a sannyasi or living in a temple. Some situations might be more favorable, but actually the most favorable situation is the one where we are conscious of Krishna. And actually there's no material limitation to us becoming conscious of Krishna because we are the soul and we are that consciousness. We just have to connect that consciousness to Krishna. First, be conscious that he is there with me. He accompanies me, and I should also become conscious and think about him and try to do things for him as he does things for me. Like the first feeling that comes when the heart becomes purified is regret. We feel regret in the heart that we became so much disconnected from Krishna for millions of lifetimes, you know. And then with that regret, we feel that the desire to connect more to Krishna. Because Krishna, you're there every day, all the time. You're always there with me. How can I do something for you also? So it starts there. We have to be conscious of Krishna's presence and everything that he's doing for us. And then we'll develop that gratefulness in the heart that will inspire us to connect with him and want to do something for him. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj, I'll try to put that in practice, introspection and reconnecting back to Krishna. And thank you
Yes.
for saying that regret is a sign of wanting to go back to Krishna. That's amazing. Maharaj, I have one more question. Uh, this is something that has been haunting me since long. So there was this massive terrorist attack on one of our temples in Bangladesh, where a very young boy was beaten to death for just trying to save the deity of Srila Prabhupada from the temple. So I always, sometimes when that thought comes to my mind, why did Krishna not, not just save that poor boy? He was just trying to do something nice. And also this entire situation of the world where religion is actually fueling so much terrorism and so much hatred. I feel that, because our acharyas say that, even these religions were preached by people or representatives of God. So then why do they cause so much violence and hatred even to people who are so saintly? So I feel fearful that, oh my God, my children are going to grow up in this world. Will Krishna protect or not protect? That is the So how do I come out of that fear?
So, but first of all, you were speaking about that child who was trying to save Prabhupada's deity in the temple. Is that it? He was trying to save his. He
He
came in the
was
temple.
Yes, actually, there was a mob who attacked one of these ISKCON temples in Bangladesh, and they burnt Srila Prabhupada's deity, and he was just trying to protect Prabhupada's deity, and he was literally beaten to death and thrown in a pond. So it's a very scary.
Well, regarding that, I have a story with Srila Prabhupada. This happened in New Vrindavan in the 70s when Prabhupada was still present on the planet. Actually, this whole thing that happened where there was one lady one girl, she was the daughter of a biker. I don't know if they were Hells Angels, but they were like a bikers gang, you know. And when the father, he heard that his daughter had joined the devotees, he became very angry. And he thought that she was still there, you know, in New Vrindavan, but she had left with another devotee, I think. And when he went there, he wanted to find his daughter again, and he came with guns. And he was with more other bikers, and they had guns with them, and they came inside the temple, and they were threatening the devotees, you know. And there was one pujari that was shot actually by one of the bikers, and he died from blood poisoning later because of that. And they asked Kirtanananda Maharaj to go and on the top of a hill and with a shovel, like a shovel is his own tomb, you know, and put himself in his own like tomb. So actually, what happened is that at that time, the bikers who were in the temples, they wanted the pujaris to kind of like how to say, push the deity. So the pujari pushed the deity, and as he pushed the deity of Radharani, it makes so much sound. It was kind of mystical. It was like a thunder, and like it was so like even the bikers who were with Kirtan and Maharaj on the top of the hill, who was forcing him to dig his own tomb, like they were like afraid, and all of them they left immediately. And when Prabhupada heard of this, and when he came, actually, because what happened is that the devotees, they didn't want to push the deity, and they were threatening with a gun, and they were forced, and they kind of pushed the deity like that. And Prabhupada, when he came at a temple and he heard this, that he pushed the deity of Radharani, she kind of broke her arm, like her hand there. You can still see the mark if you go see the deity there in New Vrindavan. So he said that if that Pujari will have protected Radharani and not pushed her, he will have gone back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime, actually. Even if, no, he said if he would have been killed, he would have received special mercy, from Radharani. So actually, that boy, what he did, we should not think because we think about the body and what is happening. Just like Bhakti Siddhanta said, some disciples of his, they were kind of worried that some, people of other religious group, they will come and destroy the deity. And they said, oh, they're destroying our deities. And Bhakti Siddhanta was saying, you should not think that the deities, they let themselves be destroyed like this. Something is happening, but the deities, they're transcendental. So what happens with the boy, why I say the story of Srila Prabhupada and what happened with the deity of Radharani is that boy, for doing this sacrifice for Srila Prabhupada, definitely there's special mercy there. We don't see what is happening beyond the body, beyond him leaving the body, but for sure, for protecting the deity of Prabhupada like this, and giving up his own life for this, definitely Prabhupada must have been very merciful towards him. Because Krishna or Prabhupada never forgets a sacrifice that we do for him or for them. So definitely, I am convinced that for making this ultimate sacrifice, for protecting the temple, that this boy was actually received, although this is a very unfortunate circumstance, that this boy received special mercy of Srila Prabhupada for making this sacrifice. Because Krishna does control everything. Now, the Prabhupada says that this is the peace formula in the Bhagavad Gita 529. Prabhupada, Krishna controls absolutely everything. He doesn't make any mistakes, and he's our best friend. So this is the first thing about that boy. Does that answer your question regarding this?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
So the second, what about what's happening in this world? It's the same thing. Krishna controls everything. He doesn't make any mistakes, and he's our best friend. The thing is that Krishna is conscious that this is Kali Yuga. He's the controller of everything. He knows what's happening. So he created this world in this way, so that people in this Yuga, in this age, have very low consciousness. So that's why actually, Krishna is not insensitive to this. The thing is that Krishna, he makes us experience suffering in this world for a specific reason. It's not because Krishna is cruel. There are two qualities that, of the 18 faults of the conditioned souls, Krishna has 16 that he manifests in a transcendental way. But there's two that Krishna doesn't have. Is intense lust and cruelty, intense violence. So Krishna is not violent or cruel, and he's not he doesn't have this intense lust in his heart because he's Krishna naturally. So the thing is that Krishna, everything that Krishna does is transcendentally good, because he does that for the progressive awakening of the conditioned souls in this world. And why there is suffering is because Krishna created the modes of nature like passion, goodness, and ignorance in a way that when we fall in too much ignorance, we want to go back up. So this is how he created this world. There is suffering to actually make us turn towards Krishna. Prabhupada did say that this world is like a prison and a hospital. It's a prison for the soul because this body is a prison for our consciousness, this mind, discovering this false ego. This is a covering for our soul. We don't see who we are truly. So it's a prison in that sense, and it's a hospital because we're treating our Purusha Bhav, this feeling of wanting to be like God, to be the supreme controller and enjoyer. And Krishna sometimes he creates these difficult environments through Kali Yuga, This is a natural cycle he has created so that the conditioned souls in this world, they actually, through these difficult experiences, they want to turn towards him. Because we have to see that everything that Krishna does is Leela also. This is a Leela of Krishna, this material world. And Krishna creates this world of, Everything Krishna does is a lila, but he does that to accommodate our material desires also. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita, don't take me responsible for your desires because I simply reciprocate with you, you know. Krishna reciprocates with even the negative desires. He sanctions even the negative desires of certain individuals because there's not a blade of grass that moves without Krishna's sanction. So it's when we think about that, it is confusing. Krishna, out of love, he reciprocates with the desires of the living entities, but at the same time, Krishna, he harmonizes perfectly with everything that everyone individually has to experience in his own life. Everyone else is the instrument of karma of someone else. It can be like that. There's karma for a person, for a family, for a village, for a nation, for a whole planet, for the humanity. So Krishna, you know, he's conscious of the karma of every living entity and he's putting individuals in certain conditions according to their past activities, but not out of cruelty or not because he is insensitive to us. Krishna does that because he wants us to progress. He wants us to rectify our independent mentality. Because when we suffer, Prabhupada did say in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita that mankind starts really when we inquire about the nature of our suffering. And that's why we suffer also. That's why there is the experience of suffering in this world. When we suffer, we think, but what is my goal in life? Why am I suffering? What am I to do? Am I to just continue like this? And sometimes there's a leap of faith and we turn towards God, you know, and we can see actually it is unfortunate, but sometimes in the life of devotees, we only turn towards, when you think about that, that is true. We only turn towards Krishna when we have difficulties in our life. When you think about that, that's true. When everything goes well and I'm happy, satisfied, we tend to forget a little bit more Krishna. But when life is very difficult, that's when we cry to Krishna. Look at Kunti Devi. I mean, she's an eternal associate of Krishna. It's a special circumstance. But Kunti Devi, she was like in difficult situation, and in those Draupadi, she was gonna be disrobed in front of everyone. She was a princess. I mean, we're speaking about Draupadi. She was being disrobed and like dishonored in front of everyone. So talk about a difficult situation, you know. But she cried out to Krishna, and you see Krishna like at the beginning she was holding her sari like that, and strongly, and she was looking at her husbands, and then she was looking at the Kauravas, you know, and she was looking at the different person, Bhishmadev, and nobody was doing nothing. And then that's when she realized that she had to turn towards Krishna. And Krishna told her after, but I couldn't go right away because you were not calling for me. You were calling for your husband or for Bhishmadev. And I was just waiting for the time. And then she chants this beautiful mantra, this Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So she chants Krishna's names, and then she raises her two arms like that, and she with complete trust in Krishna, and then Krishna provides unlimited sari for her. So Krishna puts us in these situations so that we can turn towards him, so that we can feel dependence upon him, so that we can feel or actually our true condition that we are so much limited and that we are just completely dependent on Krishna. So he gives that suffering to make people gradually comes wanting to turn towards mode of goodness and naturally towards God. So that's why there's a purpose to this suffering. And it is necessary when you think about that, even for devotees in their own life. Actually, why does Krishna does that? Why does Krishna, he says, when I like, I give you everything, and when I love, I take everything away. He says that in the Bhagavatam. Why does Krishna take everything away? This is very interesting. I mean, is this love? When Krishna loves you, he takes everything away. I've lost so much in my life, so much, and I'm still losing. But the more we lose at a subtle level to discover a false ego. But why does Krishna makes us lose things that are important to us? You know, It's because Krishna wants to make us dependent upon him. Because if we have nothing, who do we have left? Krishna. We have Krishna, you know. Just like what did Kunti or Draupadi, what did she have left? She didn't have a husband. They couldn't not do nothing for her. Her own husbands. We're speaking about the Pandavas. Bhishmadev could not do anything. Nobody in the assembly could do nothing for Queen Draupadi. Only Krishna could save her. So this is what is happening for us also. We're just like Arjuna. We're just like Draupadi, you know? We're in this like dire situation right now. I mean, all of us, we're such in a difficult situation. No matter who we are, what we are in a difficult situation because we're so much disconnected with this body and this material situation. So actually, Krishna does that to increase our dependence upon him so that, you know, when you lose everything, then you only have Krishna and you can only, you know, give yourself to him because you have nothing else to give yourself to. Just like Draupadi, she could not give herself to anybody else but Krishna at the end. So she surrendered completely. So Krishna does that gradually, even in the hellish planets, actually. I mean, we read that in the hellish planets. It's to really rectify this mentality of enjoyment, and it does work actually. I mean, because when you go through so much pain, then you realize that you want to do good, and not only do good, but that you want to be in a better consciousness and disposition, you know, better attitude, not only towards yourself, the others, but towards God also. So everything Krishna does has a purpose. Everything he does is transcendentally good and is for the well-being of mankind. But it's just that it's difficult for us to understand. One thing we have to see regarding, I'll be more specific about what's happening right now in present-day society. Actually, in astrology, it is described that in 2034, in Vedic astrology, in 2034, it will be the real beginning. I would say the real start of the Sankirtan movement. And like more specifically, it's described that Prema Yoga will be spread all over the world. And that from 2024 to 2034, there will be intense suffering in society. And Prabhupada did kind of predicted that in many of his purports, actually. If you look through what he said, like that 50 years later, there will be great difficulties in the world. Why will there be great difficulties in the next 10 years in the world? And we already see it today. Is that, and I'm convinced of that myself, is that in order for a spiritual revolution to begin, we need to experience more suffering because people are too much comfortable in their material life. And because of that, they're too much illusioned by material opulence. In Bhagavatam, it says that wealth is the most contaminated thing for the soul, because with wealth, we can do anything in this world. So there needs to be, and I meet so much, I still distribute books all these years, and I meet so much people. For the last couple of days, I was on the street, and I meet so many people every day. And I see people suffer so much on the street, you know, as I meet people. But still, they're too much attached because there needs to be more, and that's sad, that's true, but people need to, even devotees, need to go through more painful experience before they can realize more things about Krishna. It's not that we need that. It's not that it's obligatory. Prabhupada did say that this world can turn into Vaikuntha. But for people, even devotees, to rectify the mentality, Krishna has to send sometimes some serious tests. I experienced that in my whole life, in my own personal life. Krishna sends tests in our life to help us deepen our connection with him, to detach ourselves from certain things like pride, or detach ourselves from position, or from certain desires, or certain anarthas that are there, like unwanted things in the heart. So something has to happen in the heart. We have to work. We can, if we look at our own heart, we can see our heart is not completely pure. So still work has to be done. And for that, Krishna has to take us out of our comfort zone. Otherwise, we'll be too much. Prabhupada says we have heavy conditioning. And it's going to be too easy for us to just like that fall again in the trap of this false ego and just wanting to be controller and enjoyer. So that's why there has to be certain level of difficulty to push us out of a comfort zone. so that we can think more about Krishna, just like what happened to Draupadi, like Queen Kunti, like Arjuna. If this happened to us, that means it has to happen to us also. It's not that they have to go through it, but it's to show us the example that through calamity, just like Queen Kunti, she was praying like that, please, Krishna, send me more calamity so that I can be more in your presence, so that I can feel more your presence in my life. I mean, this is a serious prayer. We have to be very dedicated in the heart to pray like this. But actually, you know, they are so important examples for us. Draupadi, Queen Kunti, Arjuna, Srila Prabhupada, what he's been through. He's been through a lot. I mean, our own personal life, we've been through a lot, but we should never forget that Krishna, he does everything for our own good. He's conscious of that. He's sensitive to it. And he just, like, according to the karma of every living entity, is reciprocating like that. And at the same time, is purifying us so that we can get closer to him. Does that answer your question?
It even scared me further, Maharaj, but I think I need to, like you said in the first answer, introspect and go deeper. And so basically, what I'm taking away from your answers and your lesson today is that I need to first hold that desire of wanting to love Krishna and to go back home, back to Godhead in the deepest regions of my heart.
Mm.
And while practicing, and with that desire as the core of my life, I should focus on my sadhana. Like, I should, whenever I'm cooking, I should cook it thinking that, oh, I'm doing it for Krishna. And when I'm interacting with any person, I should remember that soul's connection to Krishna. And then finally keep introspecting whenever I fail, so that I can continue to nourish that or continue to move towards that particular goal which I should hold in my heart. Yes, and then hopefully I think I will be able to contribute in making this world a better place, at least till whatever little influence that I have. But otherwise, as you have mentioned, 2034, it's going to be a disturbing period in the world. This is
Yes.
my takeaway so far.
Yes. Yeah, this is the reality. I mean, this world is a harsh place. That's true. I mean, this is padam padam in the Vedas. It said that there is danger at every step. It's not an easy time, definitely. And I mean, we should not be insensitive to what's happening in the world. But at the same time, we should have trust in Krishna. Prabhupada had trust in Krishna. Krishna is the controller of everything. There's not a blade of grass that moves without his sanction. And we should meditate. This is the peace formula. Prabhupada said that. This is the real peace formula. This is, if you want to read, it's chapter 9, verse 29, the last verse of that chapter. So if we understand that actually Krishna is always there with us, even in the difficult times, Krishna is there in the heart. And he protects us. Krishna protects his devotees. I felt protection in my life in many instances, actually. I've been in difficult situations, even sometimes dangerous situations in my life, even as a social worker. And even before I was fully conscious of who is Krishna, I felt always protection in my heart. So I think that we need to trust Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. It's not that actually this world is controlling Krishna or that this world is independent of Krishna. We should not forget that Krishna is the Supreme Controller and that not a blade of grass moves without his sanction, and that actually if something happens, it's that Krishna also is conscious of it and that there's some purpose to it. Because that's how a devotee, he is fearless. A devotee is fearless because he's living everything in his relationship with Krishna. And you understand that everything, even what I'm going through in my life, even difficult times, is because Krishna is there with me and he wants to accompany me or make me understand something through this, you know. So that's how we keep faith and we keep like a security. Our security is Krishna, not this world. This own body is not secure. We don't know when we will leave this body. We don't know what is the expiration date. We don't know what will happen in this world in the next year or 5 or 10 years. We have no idea what's going to happen in this world. But one thing for sure, Krishna is always there, and he's never going to abandon us. He's always protecting us. And if we keep faith in that, Krishna will make us feel his presence in the heart, and he will make us feel security, because Krishna is the supreme security, actually.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for reassuring. Thank you.
Very well.
You have any other question? You have any more questions?
I just want to ask, like about
Okay, come closer. Move to seat, move on closer.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your lovely instructions on class. So detailed, so nice. Thank you. You have answered my question by answering this Mataji's answer.
Okay.
But I was just going to ask about the services, Maharaj, that, you know, we render service physically to Lord Krishna, right? And obviously Gauranga Sundar Prabhu knows since I was young devotee. And for years and years, I have done, like, you know, I have been doing services for deities and temple and cooking and all. But it's like an aging, like, lady now. It does get a little difficult as well to do as much as, like, you know, I used to do like a few years ago and all. So what would you advise, like, in continuing the services to be still focused and engaged and, you know, be connected and, you know, with Krishna conscious. Krishna, yeah. Because physically it does get, as age comes, as body starts kind of aching, paining and all the rest, it gets a bit difficult to maybe cook Sunday feast or, you know, to do some other kind of services, which can be a bit difficult. Yeah.
That's a very nice.
To continue my sadhana and continue my relationship with Lord and also serving Vaishnavas and my spiritual master, how to continue with your expert advice as well. Yeah, please.
That's a very nice question, Mataji. And that's a very important one also. Actually, what you're going through right now, we should all think about this. It's what I would suggest for you, as we are aging naturally, we're getting closer to death, and this is the common problem, like Prabhupada say, for all of us. And the real assurance is that we're getting closer to death, and the closer we get to death, the more important the need to develop a relationship with Krishna and with Srila Prabhupada. This is very important, because Krishna does say, Yayam vapi svaram bhavam, that whatever state of mind we have at the time of death, that state we are in without fail. So we have to, actually, as we get older and closer to the time of death, we have to look more up. We have, or I would say even right now for all of us, not just for you, but for all of us, we should start looking towards Krishna and toward that supreme reality. This is very important, because that's where we're bound to go, actually. So I would say spend more time in japa, more time in reading about Krishna, about Vrindavan. This is important. Hear more about Krishna. Discover more who is Krishna. If you didn't get enough time in this life, try to find more time, or whatever is inspiring for you, whether it is philosophy or stories, but to get to more about Krishna and his abode. There's so many nice details. I could spend a whole lifetime sharing stories about Krishna. I'm totally convinced of that. Because there's so many things to share about Krishna, you know. So this is what I would suggest. Maybe chant more japa, like read more. If you find that, or just hear more, if like whatever is more easy for you, if you hear more classes, you know, about Krishna. There's so many things that are available today. You know, so many resources are there. So maybe like find that that need in the heart to like maybe have more level of like more sincerity, more serious attention towards your relationship with Krishna through your bhajan, your sadhana. Prabhupada did say that towards the time of death, we should get more into bhajan. That is important. Although he showed us by example, but at the same time, he did talk about spending time for, like, he did speak about vanaprasthas. I mean, we don't speak so much about that, but Prabhupada did put emphasis on that vanaprasthas for devotees to retire and be no more staying in the dham or in places where we can absorb ourselves more in devotional service in Krishna. So will be my advice, is to try to find more quality time with Krishna through what is most inspiring for you, and try to deepen that in your life. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj, yes. But yeah, also
Yes.
like it is, I mean, how many years Gauranga Sundar Prabhu? Gauranga Sundar Prabhu was my Shiksha guru. Like initially I did Bhakti Sastri and everything with Prabhu. So it's many, many years. And I have physically done a lot of like, connection with the services and all. And then having that little bit of detachment or also guilt is there, like to say no, that I can't physically manage as much as I used to do, like, few years ago. So I have it's an inner dilemma, I guess, with my own mind that, oh, I'm being a bit offensive to refuse the services. You know what I mean? It's like a bit of a situation that I may be offensive or I may be saying no to the service coming my way and I should not say no. So it becomes a little bit of a dilemma, right? But yeah, I'm trying to balance as well. Yeah, trying to balance. Yeah.
Regarding what you were saying, I think there's a little bit of let go that is necessary also.
That's right.
Like,
yes.
Because, naturally we've been inspired and attached to do some service for so many years. So there's some natural attachment that is there in the heart and inspiration to do so. So to let go of certain of these things is difficult, and it's only natural. But I think, yes, some let go is important, and this will create some humility in the heart that I cannot do as much as I used to do. I cannot do exactly the same things anymore. And I think there's a little kind of like in the heart, a little need to go beyond a little something, like with the ego of just trying to let go that, okay, that is all right. That's true. I don't have so much control anymore of this body. Things are, changing for me right now with this body, and I have to adjust something. So I think it takes some like adjustments, and which is only natural, but maybe like meditating a little bit about this, how to like let go a little bit more of these things in order to focus more internally on what is really important, is to develop love and develop our devotion and our relationship with Krishna and Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
we have a weekly sangha of like elderly, Vaishnavas, and
That's very nice.
that really helps us as well. Like that, connect and we keep ourselves going, and like this become since COVID. We've been doing for many years, but in COVID as well, it was very supportive group as well within ourselves, that we supported each other. Or if somebody had COVID, like I had COVID twice, and somebody dropped prasad at my house, and so it's a nice that we nurture each other, and we discuss Krishna book, we read Krishna book, and then we discuss the
Very
stories.
nice.
Have prasad together and all. Yeah. But I'm still very actively involved in Leicester Temple as well. So yeah.
That's very nice, Mataji.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. Prasadam is ready here on our side. Thank you. That was a big program.
No, the bed is ready for me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Maharaj. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
We will have you more, hopefully.
Thank you so much for your sweet association. Please bless me so that I can develop some
Thank
sincerity.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.